We just got the highest density of FNAF news in the entire history of the franchise. A teaser for 8 different announcements with dates all in one tweet, 4 of them being things you can play. We're talking about it all and what they might be in more detail. So slices, put on your aprons and let's bake ourselves a theory. In case you're not on Twitter, and with the shit that Elon does, I don't blame you, about a month ago, Scott made an official Scott Games FNAF Twitter account specifically for this purpose, to be able to clearly say, hey, here are things coming down the pipeline. There was radio silence on that account until Tuesday, where it posted, quote, "Hello FNAF community. This year's FNAF's 10th anniversary on August 8th. There's been a lot of work happening behind the scenes to make it a very special event. There's going to be something big released each day from August 1st through August 8th. Stay tuned for the full August release schedule dropping tomorrow." It also included some really nice art, but this blew everything up. I was planning to cover whatever Steel Wool snuck into Help Wanted 2 via flat mode yesterday, but when I saw this, I knew whatever was going to be in that tweet would deserve its own video. The list came out on Wednesday, and I was very right. So let's go point by point, starting with this is awesome. For anyone who doesn't know what myPOPGOES is, I played an early version of it earlier this year on stream, but essentially, it's like a Tamagotchi-esque game where you're taking care of a small mascot version of POPGOES, the main character from the POPGOES Evergreen Fanverse Fazbear Initiative game. It's really fun, it's really cute, there's some sprinkles of lore in there, and a bigger lore reveal towards the end, which is great because it gives us even more insight onto the updated lore that will be the focus for POPGOES Evergreen when it comes out. Longtime members of this community know that I am a POPGOES nut, so I'm going to be replaying this on stream for sure. To be honest, you can assume everything that's playable, even something that may not technically be a game, I will be playing fully on stream. I guarantee you that. Anyway, there's already a Steam page for this game and it looks really cute and I cannot wait to play it again. So the link is in the description and the card, go wishlist it now. Moving on to the first playable piece of the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative official version of the Joy of Creation remake. This is going to be so good. We've been getting teasers and sneak peeks for the gameplay and some of the animatronics that we'll see inside of it, but as far as I'm aware, this will be the first time anyone's able to play anything from this remake. Looking at what we've got so far, this is going to probably be one of the scariest FNAF games ever officially produced. So in the meantime, keep an eye out for it on its own Steam page. That's right, if you count Into the Pit, within 1 week, we've gotten 3 new Steam pages for Five Nights at Freddy's games, which is crazy. But these are admittedly the fastest ones to talk about. They're fairly straightforward. So let's start theorizing and speculating a bit with the next announcement. VIP, the interactive novel, free. So what does this mean? Earlier this year, Scott announced some new FNAF books coming out, namely A Week Before and Return to the Pit. They are choose-your-own-adventure books, which are labeled as interactive novel because the creators of the original Choose Your Own Adventure series copyrighted the term Choose Your Own Adventure, so you have to call it something else. They have over 25 endings and somehow 2 difficulty modes. Not only that, but A Week Before has, quote, "Return to where it all began in this interactive novel set before the very first Five Nights at Freddy's game," in the description, which really makes it seem in very direct words that this book is going to be within the game's continuity. Return to the Pit similarly says, "Dive into an interactive retelling of one of the most popular FNAF stories, and the basis for an all-new video game, Into the Pit." Which again, it really seems like it's saying, hey, we're redoing Into the Pit's story so we can bring it into the game's timeline and tweak anything that needs adjusting. So if these are choose your own adventure books based around specific games in the franchise, what would VIP be about? And how is it free? Well, if this book is meant to be about one of the games, the only one that comes to mind that would fit VIP to me seems like Security Breach, specifically about Gregory. After all, one of the endings involves us going through the VIP lounge. And the title of Very Important Person makes a lot of sense with Gregory's character, especially if he was specifically abducted by Vanny for whatever Glitchtrap is planning to do. In fact, if we're lucky, VIP might be the story of what happened to Gregory right up until Security Breach, finally filling in that gap with concrete evidence that we can bridge it closer to Help Wanted and maybe even back to FNAF 6. However, as good as Gregory fits here, there is another pretty good explanation as to what this might be about. Now, technically, he's never directly stated to be a VIP, but in Help Wanted 2, our player, likely Cassie's dad, several times is asked the question, what makes you so special? And if he is so special, then he would be a very important person. And a story deep diving into what exactly he was doing that caught the attention of Vanny and Glitchtrap would actually be really helpful for the timeline. As far as it being free goes, it would make sense if this first story is shorter and in PDF format, just freely distributed on the internet. After all, that way, a month before the first full book comes out, the community gets kind of a taste for how the book works so they know what they're buying. Either one of these options would be amazing and incredibly helpful for the timeline. Now, to be fair, it could be about literally anyone else, but I believe a story focusing on a character from Security Breach or Help Wanted or Help Wanted 2 makes the most sense here, especially because of the announcement on the following day. This is obviously intentionally vague, but since we have no announced projects from Steel Wool at the moment, it seems to be very likely to either be a Help Wanted 2 DLC or the next Steel Wool game. And in fact, I think it is very likely to be the next Steel Wool FNAF game, especially considering the timing of everything. Not to mention in the FNAF interview with J-Top, or Jason Topolsky, one of the creators of Steel Wool, when asked what he was doing to celebrate the 10th anniversary, Jason said,
"Do you have anything planned for the FNAF 10th anniversary maybe? Or just gonna be celebrating at home?"
Carrot cake.
Carrot cake.
Carrot cake.
Interesting.
Oh, carrot cake.
Interesting.
That's Cassie's favorite cake.
That is Cassie's favorite cake.
This feels very Cassie coded. I mean, he literally says it's Cassie's favorite flavor. And throughout the interview, a Cassie plushie is moving around the set. So if this is a new game announcement, something to continue the story of Cassie makes a lot of sense. Personally, and I'm calling my shot right now, I think the next game is going to center Fazbear bringing back the old Fall Fest tradition with a more intentionally scary vibe. Meanwhile, Cassie is there to make sure something goes horribly wrong, as she's our new villain. And throughout the game, we'll learn more about the original Fall Fest and what went wrong then. In fact, I wouldn't even doubt if they do add anything to Help Wanted 2, it's a teaser of Fall Fest. This, paired with the idea that we're getting a story the day before this announcement that is very likely to either feature the boy who seemingly betrayed her or the father who seemingly abandoned her, makes a lot of sense. Hopefully, if Help Wanted 2 did have a significant reveal in it, we can talk about it fully next week. For now, we'll move on to... Ooh boy, this is gonna be good. Most, if not all of you, know how offline Scott Cawthon tends to be. He'll make the occasional Reddit post or Scott Games website update or now Twitter account, but outside of that, he really keeps off of the internet. So any chance to hear him talk about this franchise is a great one, whether or not there's lore involved, just to hear some of his perspective and the way he thinks about the games. And I'm not sure how much real lore we'd even get from an interview like this. He's notoriously cagey about it, but there's always a chance. And Dawko, if you're somehow watching this right now, please, I am begging you, try to ask him if any of the book series are directly connected to the game's timeline and within them. I understand if a question like that is off the table, but even if you ask it and he says no comment, that would be so helpful. Because frankly, him declining to answer is an answer, because it means it's ambiguous, so it would be a good way to shut down anyone who says, well, obviously it has to be XYZ, and if you think otherwise, you're just wrong. Because if it was obviously one or the other, Scott wouldn't have a problem telling us, would he? Anyway, time for some semi-conspiracy theories with this next one. This is wild. This is the only teaser with no direct information. All we know is that FNAF is collabing with something. So there's going to be a collaboration with some existing brand. Speculation has run wild for this one, so let's go over all the possibilities. For one, it's always possible that it's just some brand no one's thinking of, even just a merchandise brand. Hell, maybe it's partnering with like Squishmallow or something, who knows? But as far as brands we do know about, Blumhouse recently announced their new game studio, Blumhouse Games. So there's a non-zero chance that Blumhouse Games could be producing producing a FNAF game. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be the FNAF the movie, the game, but what if it's a more cinematic game, almost like a Telltale game or a game like Until Dawn, where you're making choices and walking through an environment? That could be a good refresher for the series. There is the possibility that this collaboration is with Roblox. After all, we did get that leaked Roblox game in the beginning of the year. I'm not sure if a Roblox game counts as a Roblox collab, but maybe it does? I don't know how that works. Unfortunately, it's almost definitely not Dead by Daylight. I know a lot of us have really wanted Five Nights at Freddy's and Dead by Daylight to have a collaboration, but around the same time, the new Castlevania chapter of Dead by Daylight is coming out. And as a business perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Dead by Daylight to make such a massive announcement during the release of something, because it's going to overshadow and steal the spotlight away from that release. So when you have a release as big as Castlevania, you don't want to overshadow it by accident and then ruin the launch. But speaking of updates, there's one possibility I haven't mentioned yet. On the same day as the question mark collab, Fortnite is having downtime for an update. Remember last week when I made the flossing joke? There's a possibility that in the Five Nights at Freddy's continuity, Bonnie is playable in Fortnite. Now, to be fair, this title says Collab Announcement. I'm no Fortnite player, but if there was going to be a FNAF collab with Fortnite, wouldn't it make sense to announce it before the collaboration? Like, I understand the update lines up on the same exact date, but you would think they'd be like, hey, FNAF is coming to Fortnite in a month. You know what I mean? At least to me, it seems weird to announce it and release it on the same day. But maybe that's typical. I don't know. But let me tell you, if the Fortnite collab is real, I will be playing it on the channel. But as cool as this collab might be, whatever it is, all of this and even the last announcement is a drop in the bucket, because this next one is by far the announcement I am most excited for. And that is, I have always said, if I could have any official spin-off of Five Nights at Freddy's, I would want it to be a kart racer. I am a massive kart racer fan. I always have been. Mario Kart, oh my word, Mark. And that's the stuff that I wasn't brushing off. Dude, you shed so much. But yeah, I've always been a kart racing fan. Mario Kart, Crash Team Racing, Diddy Kong Racing, Sonic Racing All-Stars, hell, even all the way back on the PS1 with Muppet Race Mania. So an official kart racing game of Five Nights at Freddy's, even if it's a little fun, I will be playing it at least once a month on this channel. I might be playing it every other week. Hell, if it's really fun, I might just play it every week. I will be the #1 FLAF racer in the world. Mark my words. But all this to say, why am I so sure that 5 Laps at Freddy's is a kart racer? Well, for one, the name of the game is 5 Laps at Freddy's, which, like, that really seems like a kart racer. But even more than that, clickteam has been teasing some pretty major FNAF stuff over the past year. And one that turned a lot of heads was this very cute, stylized Lolbit. At the time, no one was really sure what this was for, but in retrospect, this is a perfect outfit for a kart racer. In fact, she even looks like one of those race starter girls that like throws up the flag while the race starts. And this is all good speculation, but it's also kind of been confirmed by clickteam themselves. Mr. Bonnie Year posted to Twitter, "This design makes so much more sense now that it's very obviously a racing game." And clickteam themselves replied, "Spoilers." So, fuck yeah. Genuinely, this is maybe the most excited I've been for a FNAF game ever. And this amazing demo is not even the last thing, because the final release for this week of anniversary is... That's right, we finally have a release date for Into the Pit, exactly on the Five Nights at Freddy's 10-year anniversary. I could not think of a better game to have the honor. We will be playing it fully the day it goes live, and we'll be doing the same with 5 Laps at Freddy's, and probably on the Monday of, we'll play myPOPGOES and the Joy of Creation demo. We'll be playing it all. I'll try to stream every day, but I probably won't be able to. But by the way, every single stream I do is simultaneously streamed on Twitch, so if you want to watch it there, it'd be really cool, because I really want to get the Twitch to pop off, because I like Twitch, but you know, if you're rather YouTube, you can always just subscribe so you don't miss them. Now, I talk about everything that we know about Into the Pit, but I actually just did last week. The video's right here, you can watch it. If you want your fan art featured on the channel, make sure to share it with #RideTart. A huge thank you to the best channel members, the Dough Risers, and until next time, as always, stay toasty, slices.